At the end of every live stream, I pray and thousands pray along with me. I've done that almost 600 times in the last 19 months. One of the things that I always pray for is that God would send his strongest angels with sharpest swords. God would send his strongest angels with sharpest swords led by Saint Michael to rid of the demons in Russia and let his angels run Russia, make it peaceful and a good neighbor. And yes, you could say that wishing for dismantling old Soviet tanks as monuments all over the world is a part of my daily prayer. In today's live stream, I'll explain why I think that Russia will start shining only when it stops minding other countries' businesses. Howdy, everyone. My name is Konstantin and welcome to Inside Russia, where usual Russia is explained by the unusual Russian. What you will not find here is propaganda, BS, and lies, as usual. What you will find here is truth, common sense, and logic. And emotions, too, because I am a human being, after all. And this will be a philosophical stream today. There's going to be quite a bit of thinking aloud, so to speak. And let me just jump right in, without any delays. In August last year, an old Soviet monument was dismantled in Estonia. That monument was a decommissioned old T-34 tank, and it was a symbol of Soviet military might that crushed Nazi Germany. The monument was created in the old Soviet days when Estonia was part of the USSR. And after the demise of the USSR, the Estonians were gracious enough not to dismantle all Soviet monuments at once, considering the future that they had in the USSR. They were annexed. Their country was annexed in 1944. So they let those monuments that represented common history, including that T-34 tank in Narva, stay. They left them untouched in 1991 and throughout the years. Then came 2022, and the Estonians made the decision to get rid of the tank. The context of this monument changed. It turned from the symbol of fighting the Nazis back in World War II to the symbol of threats and fear. Just look what Russia started doing to Ukraine next door. Threat is fear is my opinion as a Russian. And I'd love to hear the opinions of Estonians. If the Estonians watch this video by any chance, please share your opinions in the comments. What exactly that old Soviet tank represented to you? Okay, I'm just merely sharing my opinion as a Russian. Anyway, in August of 2022, the tank was removed. I personally understand the decision. If I was Estonian, I'd support it. I heard it on the news in Russia, but honestly, I didn't think much of it. The Estonians dismantled the tank. What's the big deal? It's their business. I had other things to worry about, as I still was in Russia, in the south of Russia, trying to figure my life out. I had bigger things to worry about. But it turned out that I was in the minority of Russians. When the Russian authorities heard of the Estonians dismantled the tank, they went irate. Russian media space literally exploded. There was an outbreak of anger and hate. Russian officials, followed by Russian propaganda. Channel 1, propaganda's mouthpiece, came out with a 5-minute news program on August 16th at 6 p.m., primetime news. It showed the process of dismantling. Maria Zakharova was quoted saying that the dismantling of the T-34 tank monument in Narva was the part of the history of Estonia's self-destruction as a sovereign independent state. After the stream, I will make this Channel 1 video available in my YouTube sponsorship program and on Patreon. So for the sponsors and the patrons to see. So go and check out that Channel 1 news for yourself. I remember it was pretty bad. And other news programs, other news, other outlets of Russian propaganda, they also exploded. I'm telling it to you so you understand how angry they became. I'm explaining this program. And many Russian people got angry too. Now, not just the propaganda. Now, at the very same time, Russia was preparing to annex 4 provinces of Ukraine that it had taken by force, killing thousands of Ukrainians in the process and razing Ukrainian cities. As you remember, the 4 provinces were annexed 6 weeks later on September 30th. Wasn't that something to worry about for Russian citizens? How their country could illegally annex Ukraine territory? Why? How? By the way, they did that by using the very same tanks, only modernized. T-72s, T-90s, and T-34 that was in Narva as a monument is their tanking grandfather, so to speak. So, same kind of tanks rolled onto Ukraine territory and annexed 4 Ukrainian provinces. But the Russians weren't worrying of the coming annexation. Instead, millions of war-supporting Russians went angry with the Estonians dismantling the Estonian monument. Now, did you hear anything unusual in what I just said? Perhaps something has caught your attention? Anything? I repeat now, listen carefully. Russians going very angry at Estonians for dismantling Estonian monument. And this is the key point, the key philosophy. Instead of looking inside Russia and trying to make their own country better, their own lives better, their own house better, the Russians are looking at the others. They're looking outside Russia. They think that Russia is still calling the shots. They think that Russia still has the right to tell the others what to do. And those others would have to take that as orders. It's bad. But the worst part is it's not just the government doing that. It's many Russian people as well. That's what they believe in. It's like a disease, like a virus. It gets into your head and it grows. I'll give you a few examples. Uzbekistanis are fantastic people. Very polite, very kind, welcoming, hospitable. We share, Russians and the Uzbekistanis, we share the same history. We were one country for 70 years. And before Uzbekistan, then Turkestan, was conquered by the sword by the Russian Empire. Now, I repeat, Uzbekistan lost its sovereignty, some 160 years ago, due to Russian Empire taking it by the sword. Now, Uzbekistan gained independence. And, Uzbekistanians, they love their country, and they love being independent. They consider themselves free people, not dependent on any other country, not under anyone's influence. But I recall that many Russians in Russia saying, hey, would it be good to assemble the USSR back? Oh, you're living in Uzbekistan now. Wouldn't it be good that Uzbekistan was part of a bigger country? Because it was great. And the Uzbekistanis, they have heard that too. Because that's a popular opinion in Russia now. And they don't like it. But those Russians who say that, they don't care if Uzbekistanis like it or not. They don't care about their opinions at all. And the Uzbekistanis are scared. I know some people who are really, truly scared. They're scared of Russian tanks rolling on their soil. I told it to a couple of Russians, they started laughing. I said, why are you laughing? Because Russian tanks have been rolling on Ukrainian soil. Isn't it the same thing? Oh no, it's different. How is that different? Armenia is another example. Armenia must be friends with Russia, period. If you ask Russians who say that, if you ask them why Armenia must be friends with you, and they'll just look at you and tell you, well, because it's been historically a friend. And Armenia was dependent on Russia for quite some time, but then Russia backstabbed it. It made a deal with Azerbaijan and Turkey about Armenia, and it did not protect Armenia as it was supposed to according to the defense pact that Russia has signed with Armenia. Basically betrayed Armenia. And, Armenians, obviously, they started looking away from Russia. Oh, once it started happening, once the steps started being made for Armenia to become more independent, the Russians didn't like that. Now, Armenians are turning into the enemies from being friends in the past, not too long ago, into the enemies. Same politicians that were considered pro-Russian, that were considered decent people, that were considered all right. They definitely making steps to just cut all the ties with Russia. They don't like Russia anymore. Okay, and all of a sudden we hear the same song in Russia. Armenians are losing their sovereignty. And that same song that just like we've been hearing, for example, about Estonia. I could tell you the same thing about Kazakhstan. Russians are claiming that Kazakhstan needs to be a buffer safety zone for Russia from the foreign enemies. Well, do Kazakh like that? Do they like to be the buffer zone? I think they have a different purpose for their country. They have different plans for their country, different future. They don't like that, but you know what? No one kind of asking them. And the grand example, of course, is Ukraine. Ukraine has angered a Russian politician and Putin so much in the past that the entire might of Russia, its military, has been used to teach Ukrainian people a lesson, to show the others that what would happen if they don't listen to Russia. Ukrainians have fallen under influence of the Americans, under the influence of the Anglo-Saxons, under the influence of the collective West, of the Europeans. Oh, they want to go to Europe now, but they're not welcomed in Europe. They're not no one wants them in Europe. They are being puppets of the Anglo-Saxons. And the Anglo-Saxons is their new most favorite word now. The Anglo-Saxons. Something happens in the world, oh, we see the hand of the Anglo-Saxons there. Okay, it's like a curse now in Russia, the Anglo-Saxon. So they keep on saying that they started oppressing Russian language in Ukraine. They started oppressing Russian culture. Oh, they can't do that. Oh, wait a second. There's a Russian population there. And that Russian population is being oppressed, And so on, and so on. For years, we heard that song. And all of a sudden, it got so bad that Putin actually made a decision to invade Ukraine. And guess how Russians have justified this invasion, justified killings of thousands, perhaps hundreds of thousands of Ukrainians, how they justified raising Ukrainian cities, how they justified annexing, basically stealing Ukrainian land. Oh, we are there to help them. We will fix things. We will protect Russian language. We will protect Russian culture. You know, they're not good bums, those Nazis. We're gonna kill them all. We're gonna denazify, so they would have to fall under our complete control. We will install our own puppet politicians, and they won't even have a choice. We'll strip them of all the freedoms that they have gained in the last 20 years, and they will never look to Europe anymore. Now, 3 examples, Uzbeks, well, 4 examples. Uzbeks, Estonians, Ukrainians, Kazakhs. What Russians don't understand is that it's none of their business. Estonians are free to do whatever they want in Estonia. It's their country, it's their people, it's their voters, it's their tax money, it's their government that they vote for, their politicians. Whatever decisions they make inside the country are their decisions, and no one to tell them what to do or what not to do. It's Uzbeks' business to be independent and sovereign, to live in their country, to run the country whatever they like. Good or bad, it's none of Russia's business. It's none of Russia's business to look into Kazakhstan, Moldova, Lithuania, Latvia, Belarus, and, other countries of the former USSR, because in 1991, there was one huge, ugly monster that died, fell apart, and 16 countries were born. No, they were born with big problems. They were born with heritage. If anyone tells you and me that any one of those countries had it easy, don't believe, because no, not Russia, not Belarus, not Ukraine, not Estonia. We all went through a transition period that lasted quite some time. We all had economic difficulties. We all had corruption. We had the diseases, okay, that we were contaminated with in the USSR. But one key point is all those countries are independent, they're sovereign. People of the countries are those who make decisions inside the countries, and no one else can tell them anything, because it's just their lives, their countries, their governments, their land. They were oppressing Russian language in Ukraine. They were making laws to make Ukrainian the only official language. Well, you tell me, people, how is that Russia's business? Doesn't it make sense that Ukrainians have Ukrainian as their official language? How is that Russia's business? Ukrainians can do and are free to do anything they want with their lives. They can create a law that will forbid everyone to speak any language. And you know what? It's their business. No one can say anything to those people. What if they don't want to speak Russian any longer? What if they don't want to do anything with Russian culture? Oh no, Russians can't live with that. Okay, they must come in and fix these things. They must come in and tell them, teach them how to love Russian language and Russian culture, Let's look at this situation from a little different angle. In my previous streams, I've said many times, I've given you examples, that Joseph Stalin's monuments are being erected in many places in Russia. Usually these news fall under Russian crazy news that I do updates every Friday and from time to time in the community posts and so forth. This particular news puts me to shame because, how is this possible? Joseph Stalin, the father of Red Terror, the guy who personally ordered the murders of millions and millions of Soviet people, probably the biggest mass murder in the history of the world. How is it possible that this guy's legacy is being reborn? It's a shame, and I'm ashamed of that, But Stalin is responsible not only the deaths of Russians. He's don't make a mistake about that. He is also responsible for the death of Estonians, Latvians, Lithuanians, Ukrainians, Crimea Tatars, the Chechens. He was really a monster. Okay, now, what if someone would reach out and said, as a reply, as a response to erection of a statue, a monument to Joseph Stalin? What if they officially said, oh, wait a second, no, you can't do that. We Estonians or we Ukrainians, we're Uzbeks, we tell you, you can't do that. You're Nazis for doing that. How can you do that? How can you erect this monument to the mass murderer who murdered our people? Okay, no. We'll come and we'll teach you. We'll fix things in Russia. We'll come in and, we'll get rid of the monuments again. You can't erect Stalin monuments. Stop. Now, if anyone would say that, both Russian politicians and Russian people would be shocked, and they would be coming back forcefully, angrily, saying something like, what? Mind your own business. It is our country. This is Russia. This is the territory of Russia. And we can do anything we want to. We can erect monuments to anyone we want to. This is our business. And you know what? They would be right. But usually this principle, it's called what's good for the goose is good for the gander. Usually it's universal principle throughout the world, but it doesn't work in Russia like that, okay? Russians cannot be told what to do. They cannot be told not to erect the monuments to Joseph Stalin, who killed thousands, perhaps hundreds of thousands, Estonians. Gosh, who annexed Estonia? Who stole Estonia from the Estonians, okay? And they were under oppression for so many decades, okay? If Estonians would tell Russians they can't do that, but somehow Russians can tell the Estonians not to dismantle T-34 monument. You see how it works? The ambassador of Estonia in the Central Asia, Toomas Tirs, spoke at Tashkent Breakfast Club today. We were celebrating 1 year anniversary of our survival, that we survived, that we left Russia, that we chose a new life. We're basically all 1 year old. And it's a big event for us. And it was a magnificent event this morning. And Mr. Toomas Tirs of Estonia was kind enough to join us and speak. And his speech was touching and brutally honest. And one of the most important things he said was, I'll try to rephrase a little bit, but the message is the same. When they ask the Estonians what the Estonians want from Russians, it's very simple. Please leave us alone. Don't touch us. Let us live the way we live. This is a very strong, a very powerful message from the Estonian ambassador. And you simply can't argue with that. It's what it's supposed to be, you know? I think that's exactly what Russia needs to do. It needs to let everyone alone. Instead of focusing on others, Russia, and not just the government, but the Russian people, that's the most important thing. They must concentrate on what's happening inside their own house. Their own house is burning. Why don't, instead of telling others what to do, why don't you just put the fire out? And definitely it's not what Russia is now. It constantly pokes its nose into its neighbors' houses. You know, I was thinking for quite a bit how to make this situation into one, shorten the situation into one sentence. And I think this fits the best description. Russia still acts as if it was an empire when it is not anymore. Without Russia changing, there's no future for the country. The Russians must realize that what's really is happening, you know, what is the reality. They must admit it. They must let go, and then they must change in this particular order. Then, and only then, Russia will become peaceful and a good, welcomed neighbor. Without changing, things will be going as they have been going. And you know, friends, you can count on me to keep on praying every single night and in every single stream for that, for Russia to change, for Russia to become peaceful, and Russia become loving, loved, respecting, and a good neighbor. You know, prayers alone are not enough. And I also do things in real life, but I also keep on praying every single stream. And you can count on me to keep on doing that. Thank you so much. This has been my message for today. And I would like to hear your opinions. What do you think? You agree with me? Perhaps you don't. Perhaps you would like to add something. I would like to invite everyone into a live stream chat. Please join me. Let's talk, and I'll try to answer all the questions that you throw at me. Let's do it. I'm turning on the live stream chat right now, and I'm asking you to help me out a little bit, to help me spread my message by making reposts in your social media accounts. That actually helps. If you would like to buy me a coffee, I wouldn't mind. Not necessarily, but would be welcome. Thank you so much. Let's talk. The live stream chat is on. Kind of don't like this setup. I keep on hitting the microphone all the time. Let me just open chat in a new window as I usually do. Just give me a second. And I'd like to say thank you so much for coming. It's a pleasure and honor to have you here. Thank you. If you're here for the first time, please know that this live stream chat and this community has the best moderation team in the world. Lorna, Mami K, Harry Potter, Bob S, and Prince Amir Fazat. thank you for coming. Pentium 100 megahertz. I know you are from the Baltics. What do you think? Baker Stock. Howdy, howdy. If you want me to hear to read your message easier, to read your question easier, please consider putting it in all caps and putting inside Russia after @ so it appears highlighted in a large orange box for me. It's much easier to read. Thank you. Mario from Croatia, Horvatia, howdy, howdy. Dirk. Bob S, howdy. Sam K, hello, hello, you're a legend. Roy Cousins, Pamela J, Gina, Koshkin Dom, Petra Olson, Angela McNaugh. Live, good to see you from Sweden. Leitmotiv for me. Paul Ashwin from Florida. And the usual suspects, fantastic to see everyone. Thank you for coming. Again, this is my honor and pleasure. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okie dokie. So looking for the messages in caps. XL2, Veronica Misfot, thank you for coming. York, TB. There's a big difference in what? Bowie, Maryland. Leitmotiv. No questions. Nick, why don't you make an episode with Artur, the Estonian blogger? Well, Artur contacted me. He reached out in January, I believe. He wanted to do an interview with me, and I said I'd be glad to, but I have not heard from him ever since. So a lot of people suggest, oh, why don't you do an interview with this blogger? I mean, how do you think I'd do an interview? I'd just knock on his door saying, hey, Artur, let's do an interview. Janice Burgess, howdy. Martins, excellent, from Latvia. I remember how Russia went ballistic when we dismounted Soviet monument. So what do you think? What do you think? What are your thoughts about dismantling the monuments? What do the monuments represent to you now? Is it a threat, like a reminder, symbol of threat, symbol of fear, symbol of Russian expansion? What is it to you? Because I am not Estonian, I'm not Latvian, I'm not Lithuanian. I can only guess. So I would love to hear this from you. You need to have your microphone like Lenny from Motorhead. I don't know how he did it. Stash, howdy. Dirk, how was the breakfast club meeting today? We didn't have a breakfast club meeting today. We had an event. We had 1 year anniversary of relocation of all Russians to Uzbekistan. Basically, I got everyone together at a huge industrial warehouse where they have machinery for making furniture. It's like a showroom or something. It's a nice place. Of course, I filmed. Oля filmed everything. Of course, I'm going to make a video about that, so you wait. They were about 80 people. Very, very good crowd. Lots of people showed up. 20 people couldn't show up because they went to the mountains, and they had personal plans. But still, 80 people it was good. There will be community post tomorrow. We had the speakers, and the speakers were the organizers of the club, myself and my co-founders of Tashkent Club. There are 5 of them. And then Mr. Thomas Tiers, the Estonian ambassador to the Central Asia, he also joined us. He was very nice. He was one of the first ones to show up. He helped us moving the tables, and totally like awesome, down-to-earth guy. He brought some, everyone. I asked everyone to bring something. We didn't charge anything for this thing. I bought soft drinks and water, and I asked everyone to bring food like snacks, hors d'oeuvres, things like that. So there's tons of food. So he also brought some food. And they were speakers, just people. I had asked everyone if they wanted to speak, and about 10 people decided that they want to be speakers. For a few minutes, they just shared their experience. They shared how lucky they were, how happy they were, challenges they had along the way, and, things like that. It was an incredible party. It's Dirk. So answering your question, thank you. It was excellent. It was one of the best events we've had. I am so happy and I'm so proud that we could do that. Sam K, thank you so much for £5. And I'm drinking this wonderful Yorkshire Gold tea from the UK. Well, I think it's either from India or from Sri Lanka, but that's the English company, and I consider this the English tea. Thank you so much. Crusader Damien with with a statement. Today is the fathers of our Soviet space program, Sergei Pavlovich Korolev, birthday. Great Ukrainian. Soviet monuments belong with the German ones. Soviet monuments belong with the German ones. I'm not sure what you mean. What happened to the German ones? But Korolev was definitely the father of Soviet space. Not just Soviet space program, but the humanity's space program. The Soviets were first in space, and Korolev played a huge role in that, Thank you, Crusader Damien, for remembering that. Boris, thank you so much. John Mersheimer, Jeffrey Sachs claims it's better to do what Russia wants than to be destroyed by Russia. It's sad and stupid that 2 respected professors basically say that makes right. Very sad. I don't think that, first of all, Russia has no right to say others what to do. Obviously. And I'll check it out. I haven't heard them say that, but this is not right. This is not right. If countries keep on bending, keep on doing what Russia wants them to do, then this world is just going to be one hell of a hole. Wrong Way, thank you so much for supporting. From what you have seen, how many Russians left the country? I have heard thousands of high-tech workers. Thousands! How about millions? Thousands. No, not thousands, my friend. Definitely thousands. Many hundreds of thousands. That would be. Now, look, there are different estimates. I heard different experts, and I've done my calculations. According to what I have been seeing, there have been 40,000 Russians in Tashkent alone. Okay, Tashkent isn't the only place. Uzbekistan is bigger than Tashkent. Okay, so I think it's safe to say that another 40,000 is in Uzbekistan. But times more Russians have fled to Kazakhstan, because Kazakhstan, for different reasons, it's more advanced economically. It's it has more jobs for Russians. Okay, it has in some places more suitable conditions than Uzbekistan, because here it's hard to say to live in many places except for Tashkent. Tashkent is super comfortable, but Tashkent isn't made of rubber, and it's very expensive here. So I've heard estimation that 800,000 have left to Kazakhstan alone. Okay, and it also two countries also almost make it a million. Okay, and so my estimation that's between 2 and 3 million someplace. Some experts say the minimum amount of Russians have left is 1 million. The maximum I've heard is 3 million. I think it's between 2 and 3 million. So, and yes, hundreds of thousands of high-tech workers left, but high-tech workers are like a higher caste among us. In terms, they are free. They can live anywhere they want to. They can go and live in the mountains as long as they have the internet access. That's it. A lot of them left Uzbekistan. Many I know, there's a huge community of Russians living in Sri Lanka, mostly programmers. In Indonesia, in Thailand, in Bali. Bali has like packs of Russians. Many went on to Europe. Lots of them went to the United States, Canada. Some went to Argentina, Australia. They're just traveling all over the world. If engineers, doctors, teachers, psychologists cannot travel, they cannot go and live anywhere and work. Programmers can. The IT people can. That's the difference. So it's very safe to say that there are hundreds of thousands of missing programmers now in Russia. Nasetka, thank you so much. Thou shall mind their own business. I call this 11th commandment. Russia seems to have forgotten this. Very true and very sad. Yes, thank you so much for your support and thank you for the message. Thank you so much for support, the underdog from Sweden. Thank you. I appreciate it very much. When will Russian see how Putin repeat that Hitler did in the 30s? He saved, in parentheses, Germans in Czechoslovakia, and Chamberlain spoke about peace in our time. Today's Chamberlain is Tucker Carlson. When will some Americans understand? Well, thanks for the support. I don't know. I can tell you this much, that when Thomas Steers came out and made a speech this morning, all 80 Russians were listening to him. We all understood what he was saying. I think that if he spoke in front of 3 million of the ones who left Russia, I think every single one would understand him. When the Russians who remain in Russia understand him, I don't know. So, thank you for your support, my friend. Citizen X, thank you so much. Unfortunately, God will not turn Russia into democracy. You must do that for yourself. But God can give you the courage to do it. Thank you, and agreed. There's nothing to argue about here. Democracies do not come from outside. They come from within. Ivan, greetings. Sending love to Serbia from Russia. And Richard Young from Johannesburg. Wow. Quite a geography today. Well, as usual, we have very, very rich geography in the stream. KG1, Faith Russard. Howdy, friends. Philip Miller, do you remember Pink T-34 in Prague? I do not. I'm sorry, I do not remember. BSW, thank you so much for showing up. Good to see you. Matthias, thank you so much. Very important event. Breakfast Club's first birthday. It's first birthday and it's first anniversary of us leaving Russia. We're young. We're just babies, you know. We were just born 1 year ago. Fresh life. Funny to see bunch of 30 and 40 and 50-year-olds standing there. You know, professionals, very proven names in their fields and experts and people with tons of experience, but understanding that they're all babies because the newborns in the after Russia life. KG1, if the West gives up on Ukraine and she should fall, where's the next for the empire? I hope not. The Soviet Union fell apart from within, and Russia, in scenario that you described, hopefully it will not happen, also will fall apart from within. It's already fallen apart. Okay, folks, the situation in Russia is pretty dire. I mean, they're making good face about everything, but do not believe them. Situation is pretty darn bad, and we're gonna start seeing it. Well, we are seeing it now. We're seeing the crisis going on in Russia. We're seeing the shortages of gas in some places. We're seeing prices for gas skyrocketing. We're seeing, the medicine crisis. We're seeing so many Russians, professional Russians, have left the country and they don't have anyone to fill the vacancies. We're seeing it happening. Russia has started falling apart. They're trying to cover it up, saying, "Oh, everything's fine." So the Russians inside Russia keep on believing. There's a good movie I'm gonna recommend you at the end of the stream. I forgot. It's called Of Something Barbarians, and it's with Johnny Depp. Waiting for the Barbarians or something like that. It's an awesome movie, and this movie is about Russia. Valerie Rogers, as an American of Russian descent, tell me, is Putin a good man or not? You really got me here, Valerie. What do I say? I mean, first of all, what makes you to ask me this question? If Putin is a good man or not? How can he be good man? He enslaved my entire country. He put it into chains. He stripped people of freedoms. He invaded Ukraine. How can he be a good man? Judge men by their deeds. Well, what are the deeds of Putin? I think you know them. Stefan Dooling, thank you so much. I remember your first video after you escaped and the miracle, how well it went. Hope that the second anniversary will be held via Zoom from home. Thank you. Where is home? Where is home, my friend? Stefan, where is home? I've been asking this question myself for the past 12 months. Where is my home now? Russia? Well, let's pretend Putin's out of the Kremlin. Let's pretend as a successor of Putin, someone says, Russia is going to turn democratic now. It's Putin's fault, blah, blah, blah. But, someone goes and makes amends with Ukrainians. Someone says, okay, we're going to put lots of money. We're going to pay lots of money to Ukrainians, retributions. We're going to try to fix it, make it right. Please, lift the sanctions. And the sanctions are lifted. And, Western companies, I don't know how, but that's just pretend that they keep on coming back. And life in Russia goes more or less towards the back to normal. Now, can I unsee things that I have seen? Can I unhear things I've heard over this past 19 months? Okay. Can my friends, well, I don't have any friends, but I know some people who were killed in Ukraine on both sides, on the Ukrainian side and on the Russian side. Can those people resurrect and come back to life? Can they? I can only pretend that everything is all right. And if your scenario happens, Russians will start pretending that everything is normal. As right now in Russia, they're pretending that everything is normal, okay? My friend, I guarantee you, I will not go back and live among those people. That would make me sick. So where is home? Please tell me. Where is my home? Where in 1 year and 12 months, where I will be doing the Zoom from? I'm searching for the answer myself. And thank you so much for remembering. It did go incredibly well. I don't know what to tell you. I still wonder. I told it was a miracle in front of everyone today, I recalled how it was happening, and thank you. Stefan, you remembering that really makes me feel good. Thank you, because my experience is not forgotten. My life is not forgotten. Some people remember about it, and trust me, this is just even, it's much more valuable than money. Thank you. Thor from Norway, thank you so much. Sending my love to Norway to you. Thank you so much. Carolyn from League City, Texas. Hello. From Brazil, we have G. Scapinelli. Welcome, friend. Fantastic to have you inside Russia. Tony Smith, in 2019, I saw the tank monument in Narva. Don't bother me saying they took it away. Russia have no say in Estonia. Greetings from Finland. Don't bother me that they took it away. Russia has no say in Estonia, but it acts as if it does, and that really upsets me. Gon Marie Eriksson, howdy, and Lloyd Bremer from Minnesota. Mark C., good question. When you bring up this subject with other Russians, what do they say? Depends on who, what Russians. If we bring this subject here in Uzbekistan, they go along with my opinion. We have the same opinion. It's difficult not to have a different opinion, not what we do, okay? But if I talk to Russians in Russia, there are two reactions. Either opposing me, trying to convince me, or simply, now it's more and more people, they just avoid talking about that. It's like, I don't want to talk about it. Oh, because they know that a conflict would follow. So, this is what... Jodes Rames, Constantine, we want to see video of today's anniversary for Breakfast Club. Olya's making a video. She filmed everything. There were a couple hours of filming. It's going to take a while, but we will definitely do that. I'm going to make it a priority. Meanwhile, I will post pictures probably after the stream if I don't fall asleep. It's been a busy day, trust me. So you will see the pictures now and you will see the video later. But I promise you will see it. Habla Verdi, hello from Sweden. What made the average Russian stop respecting its neighbor's sovereignty? I don't know. It's historically been like that. In the 90s, we didn't care much. Because we had, in the 90s, life was more or less normal, you know. We cared about Russia. We cared what's going on in Russia. We cared about our house. We cared about our lives. We cared about things that meant for us, you know. We didn't care what was happening in Estonia. For the Estonians to decide, it's their country, you know. It's Ukrainians, anyone for that matter, okay? I don't know. This old evil has woke up and came from within. I don't know, curse or something. How does Konstantin manage to drive? He will keep getting stuck at the T-junctions. What's a T-junction? My friend, we don't have this here. The T-junction. I don't drive here. I take cabs. I think I start losing my driving skills. I drove from the moment I turned legal age 18. I passed the test for driver's license, which was a big deal in Russia back then, by the way. 94, 95, and 94, I think. And I started driving, so I'm a pretty darn good driver, let me tell you. But I haven't driven in exactly in 1 year. And I miss it a lot. I like driving. Anyway, thank you, Sam K. That's pretty funny, what you said. James Varela, could you live in Ukraine after the war? James, I probably could. There are Russians living in Ukraine because Ukrainians are not monsters, okay? They are good, decent people whose country was invaded and by the neighbor and betrayed by the neighbor, and they just defending their own country. But what I am afraid of, it's not even I'm afraid of. What I like here in Tashkent, I mean, it is not a secret that I tried to get Ukrainians and Russians together. And we had a Ukrainian family today from Kharkov, and it was fantastic people. They also spoke. They spoke in Ukrainian. They're thanking the Estonian ambassador for their all support that Estonia has been giving Ukraine, and they spoke Russian to us, you know, obviously. Now, other Ukrainians here, they don't want to come to us and speak to us because they just don't feel, you know, when your relative or your friend or someone you know was killed for nothing, you probably don't feel well about people who killed them or those from the country whose soldiers came from and killed them. And this is difficult. I could live in Ukraine after the war. I probably could get a job at the rebuilding infrastructure. Oh, I'm giving you a little bit of a, heads up. I was invited to one of our companies there to build. As soon as the war starts, Ukraine is going to be the construction yard of the cosmic scale, of the global scale, and there'll be lots of European companies. It's only American and European companies. There'll be no Chinese there. And there are people talking right now about that. I don't know the details. I just know there are talks, and I probably could, but it's a tough one. For once, I would be absolutely ashamed and feeling guilty looking at the eyes of those people, like I feel guilty when I look at the Ukrainians who are here. Come to us, they're good to us and so forth, but that doesn't make me feel any lighter, William, atheist number one, thank you so much. Sending my love to the atheist number one. You ask for countries to respect Russia. Sorry to say, I believe after this debacle, it'll take generations. Respect has to be earned. I pray to God so he would have his angels run Russia, or at least help Russia. I don't know how it works. I know that it does work, but the details could be very different from what I'm asking. But basically, I'm asking that Russia would come to its senses, and the Russians would come to their senses, okay? And Russians would embrace good values, good morals. And that's what I mean by angels come and run Russia. And after people have good morals, then they get along with their neighbors. They're respected, they're loved, they respect, they're peaceful, they don't invade anyone. But the thing is, you're right, it's going to take generations. I understand that. And I know I've been like out crying about that, folks, for like, I don't know, 19 months, saying terrible tragedy happened to Ukraine, but also to Russia, because it's gonna take generations, at least 3 generations, for things to be forgotten, not forgiven perhaps, but forgotten, okay? And Russia is so screwed right now. Okay, folks, I gonna wrap it up soon. Susie Mailer, howdy. Armando Jorge, I like your character and the way you talk about this shit. The only problem is when you try to sing. Well, you know what? If it was the biggest problem, if it were the biggest problem, that'd be perfect, wouldn't it be? Keep on the good work. Respect from Portugal. Thank you so much. Armando, thank you so much. Username Jory. Oh, user named Yuri or Jory. Did the kids get to meet at the Breakfast Club? Yes, the kids did get to meet. I'm gonna make a picture of all of us. One big picture. Actually, if you go to my Instagram account, you will find it. I already posted it. But yes, the kids, the Ukrainians, the entire family came. They have 2 kids. My family came, and there were 4 or 5 families with kids. It was incredible. One guy, he had just son born a couple weeks ago. That's the first baby born in Uzbekistan. So obviously his mother did not, the baby's mother did not come with the kid, but the father was with us. Folks, this is it. Wrapping it up. Thank you so much. Let me grab the paper with the names for prayer, and I invite Personally, I invite. Let me just, before I go into a prayer, I'll check if I didn't miss, to make sure I didn't miss any super chats. There you go. No, Taurus, all done. Citizen X, unfortunately got, oh yeah, I saw that. Yeah, I think all good. I am personally asking atheist number 1, join us in prayer. You don't have to call it a prayer. Just join us wishing good to people in the world, to the Ukrainians, and everyone, believers or non-believers, doesn't matter. In my eyes, we're all the same. So please join me in prayer, and let's do it. Dear Lord Jesus Christ, thank you so much for giving us this day and this week. Thank you for giving us food on our tables and putting roofs over our heads. Thank you for surrounding us with people who we love and who love us. Please give us wisdom to keep the skies above our children's heads safe, peaceful, and clear. And give us wisdom to raise them in a way that when they grow up and become adults, they will have, they will do a better job running this world than we have done, and they will make this world a better place. For now, please keep our children safe and healthy. Dear Lord, please help the stop bloodshed in Ukraine. People have suffered so much. Send them recovery, soothe their souls, answer their prayers, and make their wishes come true. Send angels to protect them. Reach out and touch the hearts and souls of those who are capable and responsible, so they wake up from their lethargic sleep and they will make the decision to stop the bloodshed. Dear Lord, please help my country, Russia. Assemble your strongest army of strongest angels with sharpest swords, led by Saint Michael in shining armor, and send them like a heavenly avalanche to this earth to get rid of the demons that have hijacked my country. Please have angels run Russia. Please make it peaceful, make it loving, respected, respectful, respecting, respected, loved, loving. Make it a good neighbor to everyone. Make it the country that no one is scared of, but everyone likes to be friends with. Dear Lord, please send everyone who is traveling safe travels, and everyone who is asking for asylum, please send help. Help those in Ukraine who are suffering from the attacks of Russian missiles or drones right now. Please send them safety. Those single mothers who are raising their children and struggling, trying to make ends meet, send them help, please. Help the hungry, the sick, the homeless, the jobless, the depressed, the addicted, the ones who are not feeling good about themselves, about their lives, the ones who are betrayed, the ones who are losing faith. Please send everyone who is in need of something. Please help them. Send them your love. Send them your help. Send them your angels. So shine your heavenly light upon them, so people will feel good about themselves and about their lives. Dear Lord, some people need your help real bad, and this is where their names are little girl Sarah, who's awaiting for surgery. She's fighting for her life. Please help her. Make some time for surgical ward so the surgery can be performed. And send your angels to help the doctors, to help their hands when they're going to be operating the surgery, doing the surgery. Please help Sarah to recover and help her parents who are praying day and night for her. Answer their prayers. Make their wishes come true, please. Have that girl recover completely and go home and live with mom and dad and have a happy life. Also, please help Ann Larson's daughter, Hannah, Heidi Homestead, CB, Joseph Johnson, Rhonda McGillis, who's fighting with cancer, Kyle E.'s wife, Jason Connor, send them recovery after the surgery, Jenny Stevenson, Jay Spike, Leslie Fleming's daughter, Bas Simmons, Sam from Kiev, Wayne, who's fighting 2 cancers, Anne in Poland, scan families members who are suffering from different illnesses. Please help them all. Dave and Dawn, Summers 613 mother, please send recovery. Mike O'Neill, Susie Mailer, please help with migraines. Vasilin Lubomirov, Gloria Roberts, Lise Dombrell, Darla, White Lightning, George Ruberty, Mr. Dean Spooner, his church called Our Savior Lutheran Church, Elena, Natasha, Jake, Michael, Oля, Dasha, Sky, Bonnie, and Svetlana, Michael, Linda, Dirk, Angelic at Life, Randolph, Grace Philosophy, Lisa, David Porter and his family and everyone who's in Chernovtsi, Ukraine, the Highwayman, Alvin, Joan Lee McMahon, Stephen from Sweden, Pamela J. Also, I'm asking for all children who have been suffering in this terrible disaster in Ukraine, in Ukrainian kids and Russian kids, kids from Israel, from Palestine. Please send them help. Send them your angels to watch over children. Send them recovery from illnesses and send their parents strength. Because when they need it when they see their kids suffering. Thank you so much, dear Lord Jesus Christ. Amen. My friends, thank you very much for coming. It's fantastic to see everyone. Hope everyone is having a good Sunday. Thank you. You're awesome. You rock. There will be another message tomorrow, as usual. And as usual, I'm asking you to say along with me at the end of every stream. Say it out loud as you can. Just repeat after me. Carthago delenda est.